Hi, everybody. Materim here with an answer to Vince Venturella's topic of the week of the things I love about Games Workshop. Vince wants a little bit of positivity to kind of pump up the community while we're all huddling in corners afraid of the release of Age of Sigmar, whatever that ends up being. And so he's asked us to discuss a little bit about what we love about Games Workshop. And I will do my best to answer that with only a slight bit of my normal, uh, let's call it hard edge. But one of the things I definitely love about Games Workshop is their absolute confidence. You really don't find any other companies out there that are so confident in the product that they put out that they're willing to not do market research and not communicate with their customers and not advertise basically. And admittedly, those are kind of negative showings of the confidence, but I think being that confident and being that single-minded focus on what they want to do and to hell with everybody else is what has allowed them to make such a unique brand and maintain that sort of single purpose vision for 30 plus years at this point. There's a lot of negatives in how they go about doing it, but you have to admire that drive, that creative drive to just be like, you know what, this is what we want to do, buy it or not. And I know people have given them crap about saying, oh, well, we're not a game company, we're a miniatures company. But you got to remember the reason why they are, I mean, pretty much without comparison in terms of the quality of their miniatures is they've had that single-minded, obsessive devotion to becoming better and better and better in that. And you can just, to see the results of that, all you've got to do is open up one of their new model kits. They have an amazing selection of models, amazingly detailed, and you can even see like where the difference is if you open up a kit from, like the one I'm thinking of off the top of my head is I just got the Cold One Knights from the Lizardmen. That's an 11-year-old kit at this point. It's 2004 is the print number on it. But you compare that to the new Dark Elf Cold Ones, and I mean, the level of detail is amazing. Just, things have gotten a lot better. And I think without that focus of Games Workshop at producing what they want to produce, how they want to produce it, you would not see that increase in quality. Now, admittedly, the other side effect to that is that they alienate a lot of people, but they've been able to pursue their vision of excellence. And as a creator, as somebody who does very similarly in the things I do, in the narratives I do, in the D&D games I run, where I'm like, you know what, take it or leave it. This is what I'm doing. I have to respect that. I absolutely have to respect that. Now, admittedly, that's where I think they're going wrong with this Age of Sigmar thing. I think this is the first time that I think they are failing to go with that vision, and they're kind of chasing the dragon of what other people are doing. But we'll see with that. The other thing that I love about Game Workshop, or maybe I guess I should put this in past tense, I loved the fluff of the old world. One of the things that I've heard a lot since the sort of start of the end times is, oh, well, who cares if they end the world? Nobody cares about the fluff anyway. Anybody who knows me or who's watched this channel for any length of time knows that I passionately disagree with that statement. I love the fluff. I loved it being based off of the real world map with changes. I loved the individual stories. I loved reading the army book fluff sections. They very much move me and inspire me in my army building and my collecting, and I think that's something that I loved about Games Workshop is that they took familiar things and they put a new spin on it. They didn't pull anything really from whole cloth, but this may be the best quilted game world I've ever seen, where they've taken like a piece from here and they sew it in, and then a piece from here and they sew it in. And so, admittedly, you're not going to find too many 100% creative ideas in the old world. But what makes it unique and what makes it, or I guess I should keep using the past tense, what made it unique and made it awesome was how they stitched it all together. And it to me, it felt like a living, breathing world. And I know some people may argue it's the map's been filled in, that sort of thing. I don't agree with that. I mean, they have a lot of information, but the nice thing is the army books are sparse enough that I easily felt like I could put myself into those worlds and make my armies into those things that have a place in that world. And because of their openness of their design for the fluff, I loved that. And I love building my stories within that framework. And again, it makes me a little sad that I feel the need to place that in past tense, but it's definitely one of the things that got me into Games Workshop games over any of the other games that are out there. I am a big fluff player, so for me, the game has to have the right fluff. And I'll be completely honest, that's the big things I'm waiting to see for 9th edition and Age of Sigmar. If I don't like the fluff, the rules may be awesome, but I ain't going. I mean, at best, I might kidnap the rules and use them with the current models, but for me, the fluff is the far more important thing, and I think GW set a very high bar for what I expect, and a very unique bar, I think, is the other thing with it, is I love the fact that they didn't give in to sort of your traditional fantasy, or at least maybe traditional is not the correct word, the sort of modern current fantasy of let's go all anime style with it and big shoulder plates and stuff like that. So I think they managed to maintain their flavor while stitching together something new out of very different parts. And I absolutely love that as well. And I guess the last thing that I love about Games Workshop, and this is going to get to an area where I'm not sure I can literally leave this at their feet, but I want to end up with a sort of unbiasedly positive opinion just because that's what Vince asked for. I love the amount of fun I've had with their game. Warhammer has been a lot of fun to me. I feel that it's helped me grow as an artist. I've definitely come a long way in learning how to paint and model and even base, Vince, the models, and I've gotten a lot of hours of enjoyment out of that. Whereas if I had been playing like a pre-painted game, like the new Star Wars games, I wouldn't have gotten that enjoyment. And then on top of it, it's a fun game. I've had a lot of hours. I mean, look at the battle reports to attest to it. There's been a lot of hours of fun I've had with the boys, throwing down on the table, and it's been enjoyable. And love it or hate it, that's what Games Workshop has brought to me. And then on a sort of a personal note, as many of you know who have watched before, the first date that my wife and I ever had was painting Warhammer models. Super geeky, I know, but the game itself has a pretty significant part in my personal life and the cornerstone of my family. So I can't really hate on them too hard, despite every other thing that they've done that I disagree with. because they were that first step to the best thing that's happened in my life, and that's my wife and my children. So I love that they've given me the opportunity for those friendships and those good times and stuff like that. So this probably ended a little more maudlin than I expected it, but there are some good things to love and even some good things to hate about Games Workshop, and I'll hold true to that. But hopefully, Vince, this answered the question that you were asking. And if anybody has any questions or comments below as to sort of their thoughts on what I put out as the things I love about Games Workshop, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next video.